Hey, boo things! Yes, your girl made it on time. Finally, of the week. And not only of the week, but the night of. I am blowing up and doing big things. Y'all can't stop me, okay? Now, let me toot my horn a little bit. I am very happy because this is my first video after I have reached 10K followers on Instagram. Woo woo! So, if any of y'all is responsible for that in the past 2 weeks and you just now subscribed to my IG, I would like to say thank you kindly. And thank you kindly, I say that because that is what I write in every single post that I make when I post. I always say thank you kindly for following me for more urban content. So, thank you kindly. I reached 10K on Super Bowl Sunday. So, I am now going to forever remember Super Bowl Sunday for that moment. And I'll forever remember the bomb as halftime show that went on. Okay? Snoop, Dr. Dre, the queen of R&B soul, Mary J. Blige, Eminem, who took a knee, Kendrick Lamar, 50 Cent. It was star studded and it was the shit. If anyone is from the 80s babies, this was really your era and it was everything. I mean, everything. And the Rams won. So I'm going to forever remember that. And I'm not even you know, a freaking football fan. But without further ado, let's get into Teen Mom, shall we? But before we do, please like this video. And I'm going to give y'all a minute to do that while I bring up my notes. Okay, so you do that and I'm going to do this. But child, yes, it was the best, the best, the best. So, let's get into Teen Mom, shall we? Okay, the highlights for this episode was okay. Y'all gonna have to forgive me. I got ashy hands, and y'all know I use my hands a lot. I was supposed to do something else before this, which would have required me to use lotion. Now, what you think? Get your head out the gutter. But I did do my nails for y'all finally. So just take this, y'all, and we'll work on the ash before I do my next video, which is Kings and Apple. Turn into that if y'all like that. Anyway, okay, so the highlights of this episode were Farrah and Macy having a conversation that could have went absolutely left had Macy not maintained her cool, but she did, so kudos to her. Bar and Ashley have a little emotional conversation session with Coach B, and they had a rope challenge that was woo child. Ashley, but we'll get to that. And Shay and Zach had a little cute day and got into some things about their family, which was really cute. And they had a disco party. So it wasn't a drama filled episode, which was good. Everything was great. This was a nice, cool, calm, neutral episode. Now we all know it probably could have went left, but Farah was only in the beginning of this episode when she had her conversation with Macy. So let's get into that first of all, shall we? So that's how this episode started out with Farrah and Macy having their conversation. And Macy was trying to let her know, look, we've been working on a lot of things here before you even came, and a lot of good things have came out of it. So we just hoping that you can get something out of it and we can all be cordial, not have no drama, figure out what your situation is and your insecurities are, and try to work things out with, some of the cast girls that you have had issues with, which is basically all of them, including Farah. But Farah just held her own. She was so graceful with it. Now she could have went off and she is so good because I would have went off because the way some of the things and the way that Farrah was handling herself was like, bitch, like you really could stay your ass home. Why did you even come? If you ain't trying to, work on things like we all are trying to work on things. So Farrah was just, I don't think this is the greatest place to have a conversation, you know, with whomever that she got into it with. This is the right place. Hold on, y'all, the fix water. This is the right place. Where else would you be doing this at? What did you come here for? Just to cause a scene and make an ass of yourself? Because that's all she has done so far. You know what I'm saying? So, at the end of that conversation, Macy was exhausted. I was exhausted just watching it. And Farrah left not any different than what she came with. No, she didn't. I don't think she necessarily left the whole retreat, but she left from the table. I don't know where she went because we didn't see her for the rest of the episode. And I was fine with that at that point after she acted the way that she did at that table with Macy because she had no right to even act the little bit of snobbiest that she was acting. I'm like, girl, go somewhere. Please have several seats somewhere else. I would have had to have a drink. I hope she did. They don't edit everything out, so who knows what else was said during that conversation. But I know I would have had about 2 or 3 drinks if I was Macy because I wouldn't have been able to maintain. Like, soberness does not work when it comes to Farrah. She'll make somebody relapse, probably. Swear to God. Probably me. But anyway, went on with Bart and Ish. I'm Bart and Ashley. Bar and Ashley, they got engaged at the end of their season, somewhat, I guess. I guess it was the end. And during that time between then and coming onto the show, remember the first episode of the show, Ashley had a conversation with Shai, and she told him that, they're married, but they're like separated. It's not the way that she expected it to be. It's rocky, and if it doesn't get better, they're probably going to be talking about it going towards the D word, divorce. So Ashley and Bar had a session conversation with Coach B, and I think that it was really helpful. Coach B is the shit. Shout out to Coach B because she is handling these girls and their people, their men with such grace, and she looks gorgeous. Now, just a side note, this episode, not every episode, but this episode, she was giving me a little bit of Ashley from Housewives of Potomac. It's in the face, it's in the smile, but I just see it. Let me know if y'all see it, cause I see it. I don't know why, but beautiful. Ashley's beautiful. Coach B is beautiful. Very much beautiful women. But she was just giving me a little bit of Ashley. So whatever. I love Ashley. Anyway, by the way. So during that session, she asked Bard, growing up, like, who told you that you weren't good enough? Because he said, he feels that he's not good enough. And she's like, well, you must have had that distilled into you some way, somehow, by someone. So who is it who says that you're not good enough? And he just kept saying, I don't know. I don't know if he was holding back, trying to protect someone or what have you. But he still, had an emotional moment, broke down, cried, and Ashley seen that, and it was just like a wow moment, I think, because he was trying to hold back his tears so bad. But Coach B kept asking him, who is telling you, who told you this? Why do you feel this way? And so it came to a point where she had to take him, walk away from Ashley. And I don't know if he didn't want to feel that way in front of Ashley or what have you, because, in the past, when him and Ashley have argued, she has, somewhat emasculated him, and that all that time she didn't know that that suppresses that because he already feels like he wasn't shit, and it just takes him back to that place. And Coach B helped her realize that as well. But like I said, she took him to the side, talked to him. He even cried even more. He really let it out finally, and she let him know it's okay. you're a man still, and it's okay, and you are someone, you are good enough, and you got to believe in that for yourself. So when they finally went back to sit back on the couch with Ashley, that's when Coach B let them know, you got to pay attention to that. If you are mad at him, you got to check your venom at the door. You can't be emasculating this man as a friend or as a wife, especially as a wife. And then she had to let Bar know, as a husband, you've got to show up and be vulnerable if that's what you need to be. And so at the end of that session, it was really good. And I think it puts them in a better, vulnerable place with each other as a couple. And so that was great. Which was good because they end up having, let's get to the rope challenge. So they're doing rope climbing. It wasn't basically a challenge, it was an activity, but the challenge was basically for Ashley. But anyway, they do this rope climbing, and two at a time are going across. It's like this big thing going on that everyone's on this side going across the rope trying to get there, and everyone gets to come down and do this zip lining down from the climb. Now, Ashley is completely scared of heights. Now, I did not know this, and if you did, you probably didn't know to this magnitude. But Ashley was completely scared shitless. She was basically in the middle of everyone. So people got to go down the zip line, but when it got to Ashley, she was like, I can't do this. And she kept saying over and over, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this, I can't do this. She said it like 7 times in a row. And poor girl, just started crying, just bawling. She basically had a nervous breakdown trying to deal with her being scared of heights. And so there's only one way down. She had to go down. There was no other way. And it was like very quick just to zip line, but that to her was very quick that her life could be over. But like I said, I think that session that her and Bar had with Coach B was really helpful because, at first Bar was, I believe he was down on the ground, and he was letting her know, you got this, babe, you can do this. But then at some point, he got up there and was sitting up there with her, supporting her, letting her know it's okay, you can do this, and I'm proud of you for doing this, and you can, you can do this. Just do it, and you'll be proud of yourself. So you have everyone else down at the bottom who are cheering her on, letting her know, like, babe, you can do this, girl. You got this. And she finally went after who knows how long she was actually up there. According to the edit, they only show so much. But I would love to know how long was she actually up there before she decided to go. And when she went, she ended up being the last person because they had to let other people go because she was holding up the whole situation. So she just sat there and other people went except Bar because Bar was, trying to coach her through it and get her through it. So Bar was the last one to go down the zip line because he didn't go until after Ashley did. And I think that that was so beautiful to see them have that moment together, and she was vulnerable, and he didn't make her feel any type of way. He helped her along the way the entire time until she finally went. And when she got on that thing and went down, you could see it in her face. Okay, get me down. I'm done. I did this and I ain't doing it again. But she finally did that shit. Goddamn, Ashley. She held up the whole process. But kudos to her. She finally did it. Then what came next? The next highlight would be that Zach and Shai had a date together. She's been doing everything with the girls and doing all these activities, so she was finally happy to have a moment with just her and Zach. And they took a little boat ride to this little private island where he had a picnic set up for her, and it was very romantic, very beautiful. On the way to the picnic, he told her, you make me happy. I'm happy with you. I'm happy with the kids. This is where I want to be, and I'm happy that I'm here. And she was very happy to hear that. And they just talked about their future life and in general. And it was just a beautiful moment. And yay for them. because she needed that, obviously. And I really liked their little setup. It was very romantic, very beautiful, and they were very vulnerable with each other, and it was just cute. So, I guess the last thing to talk about would be the disco party. The disco party was so lit. Bree decided to hold a disco party. But first of all, back to the rope challenge real quick. Gary was the only one who didn't participate. He had a beard cheering everybody on. And I would have been Gary with a beard cheering everybody on because I ain't getting on that shit either. But back to the lecture. I had the disco party. Brie had a disco party. She had outfits for everyone to wear. I think Devoyne was the only one who didn't dress up, but he was there participating, having a good time, which was great. And Macy, I believe, was the life of the party. Now Macy was throwing her little booty up and down and all around, just jamming, doing her thing, and everybody was very much impressed, and I was too. I'm like, okay, Macy girl, do your thing. I see you, boo. And she said, I learned all her. She said she learned all her dance moves from Google. I bet, cause who teach you how to dance like that? But good for her, cause now you know she probably throwing it back on Jalen, and I see why he with her now. Okay, okay. Speaking of which, next episode on the sneak peek, they finally show him arriving. Jalen has arrived, darling. Finally, he is here. And this is what I've been waiting on the most because I'm ready to see how he is on camera, how he is with her, how he is around the other cast members, and I just want to see what he about. And he better come correct, okay? So I am waiting for next week a whole bunch of a lot. And I think that pretty much sums up this episode. So I hope y'all enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe if you have not. And please follow me on Instagram. Become a true confessor with my 10K. Oh, excuse me. I'm at like 10.3K now. Put some respect on my numbers. Okay, honey? Thank you for watching, and I'll see y'all next week. Bye.